my name is Audrey, and I'm the Education Programs Manager here at the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame and Museum. And welcome to Storytime with Audrey. Today we're going to be reading Lexie the Word Wrangler, written by Rebecca Van Slyke and illustrated by Jessie Hartland. And I do want to give a special shout out to the Waco-McLennan County Public Library because that's where we got the book for today's story time. All right, let's get started. Lexie the Word Wrangler. Lexie was the best wrangler west of the Mississippi, and everyone knew it. She wore a tall hat, fancy boots, and a bandana. Like all wranglers, Lexie could ride a horse, twirl a lariat, and herd cantankerous cattle where she wanted them to go. But Lexie wasn't an ordinary wrangler. Lexie was a word wrangler. Lexie could tie words together. She could take an ear of corn and a loaf of bread and make some tasty cornbread. She could take a stick of butter and a pesky fly and make a beautiful butterfly. In the spring, Lexie watched over the baby letters on the ranch until they grew into bigger and bigger words. So we start with A, then go to at, cat, and finally cattle. And this also starts with A, but it goes from A, age, sage, and ends with sagebrush. Every morning in the chuck wagon, Lexie mixed up a fresh batch of words. She could take an annoying pest, P-E-S-T, and turn it into some fine pets, P-E-T-S. She could take a small spot, S-P-O-T, and make it into a post, P-O-S-T. Lexie could herd words into sentences. For sale, barn kittens. If y'all have a pest problem, they will help you. They also make great pets. She could hitch sentences together so they could do a job. Dear Ma, life on the ranch is as fine as a frog's hair. I'm busy putting in some posts for a new fence in a spot near the barn. In the evenings, she pinned words together to tell a story. Everyone agreed that Lexie was a champion word wrangler. Nearly everyone, that is. Lexie noticed that not all was well on the ranch. At first, it was little things. When Lexie got dressed in the morning, she noticed that a D was missing from her bandana. Wranglers don't wear bananas around their neck, she said. Then it was bigger things. After a rainstorm, she looked up in the sky and said, "Some varmint stolen the rain from the rainbow." It was true. Instead of a rainbow, there was a bow in the sky. When Lexie rounded up a herd of calves for a neighboring rancher, someone released a whole passel of baby G's into the calf pen, and all the little doggies became little doggies. "I got me a bone to pick with some rascal," she said. That night, when Lexie unrolled her sleeping bag, the twinkling star, S-T-A-R, in the sky turned into rats, R-A-T-S. "Ain't no fun sleeping out under the rats," she said. "Looks like we got us a word rustler." Lexie dusted off her bedroll. "I aim to find that word rustler and bring him to justice," she said, and she headed into the bunkhouse to sleep. The next morning, she ran off into the desert to look for the word rustler. But that rascal had added an S, turning the whole desert into a giant dessert. "Don't that just take the cake?" she said as she picked icing out of her horse's hooves. "It's high time to trap this scoundrel," Lexie said. She set a loop in her lariat and climbed a tree by the barn to wait for the word rustler to strike again. Lexie waited and waited. Finally, along about sundown, Lexie noticed a shadow slinking along the corral where the longhorn cattle were. He was about to steal the long from the longhorns when Lexie's rope snaked out. "Looks like I caught me a word rustler," Lexie said. "What were you planning to do, kid?" "Oh, shucks. I wasn't gonna hurt the critters," the kid said. "I was just aiming to have a little fun." "And leave me with a corral full of horns?" asked Lexie. "Darn tootin'," said the kid. Lexie tried to hide a smile. "What's your name, kid?" "Well, my name's Russell," he said. "Please don't tell my pa." "Justice must be done," said Lexie. "Aw, shucks," said Russell. "All I've ever wanted to do was work with words like you." "You do seem to have a talent for it," Lexie admitted. She looked at Russell. "I hate to see good talent go to waste. If you can promise me you'll use your talents for good, maybe I can help." "You've got my word," said Russell. Lexie uncoiled her rope from around the word rustler. She lassoed up a big W and a little E. We. Soon, Russell was no longer the word rustler. He became Russell, the word wrestler. Now Russell works along by side with Lexie on the ranch. He helps her break the wild words in the herd. He can take a dangerous rattlesnake and turn it into a baby's rattle and a harmless snake. He helps Lexie train the baby letters to work together. So we start with I, then N, win, wing, and finally swing. And here we combine tree and house and make treehouse. And Russell even helps the other youngins learn to hitch words together so they can become word wranglers themselves someday. So in this speech bubble, we've got all kinds of different words in all kinds of different orders. And then in this one it says, "Let's ride to the treehouse and swing on the rope." And that is the end. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us for Storytime with Audrey at the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame. I hope you enjoyed it and that you can join us next time. Bye-bye now.